Sunday, and Richard Tice demands a head-to-head clash with Keir Starmer. Sounds dangerous, but Keir will be fine because his wife works in a big NHS hospital and his dad was a toolmaker, Cressida.
Reform Chairman Richard Tice demands his party get a head-to-head TV clash with Keir Starmer, claiming his party is now more important than the Tories, despite only beating them in a single poll. So this is the Reform big news this week, that they've beat the Tories. They're now saying, look, we're the legitimate opposition, not the Tories. We should be allowed to take part in this TV clash. And what's interesting is the BBC haven't ruled that out. So historically, this TV debate, the people who are invited to it, it's based on who had the most seats in the previous election. Obviously, that wasn't Reform. They had one. But Richard Tice is making the case and saying, look, it's not democratic to do it that way. We matter. And if you don't let us into this debate, millions of people are going to be very, very angry. And, of course, Farage desperately wants to get involved in this. And he says, if the BBC want to fight with me on this, they can have one. And I don't think that's a good look for the BBC.
No, it's really interesting. You expect Richard Tice to say these things. Of course you do. He's the chairman of Reform, and you know, good on him for doing so. I think he has a point. I think what we need to see, you know, they can't rely on that poll. That's a YouGov poll commissioned by the Telegraph.
It was one poll, but it was a big, beautiful poll. It was tremendous.
Tremendous poll. Well, some of the best polls we've ever seen. If we get 2 or 3 more polls where they're points ahead of the Tories, he has a really good point. I think they should push for this. I think we should see the Reform Party stood up there with the former mainstream parties, as Nick Dixon.
Well, what this is doing is it's highlighting the problem of first past the post, isn't it? It's kind of shining a light on it. So I think the BBC could make a decision. I mean, they might get to a point where they have to do that anyway if Reform's popularity goes up and up.
Yes.
But it's also shining a light on the fact that the system favours the people that are already there. So in a way, the BBC might want to appease the masses by having Farage there.
They might, and Farage is always good TV for them. I mean, like you say, there will come a time, presumably, where if the current trend continues, although the BBC said to Farage the other day, well, it's a big if, isn't it? But if it continues, then there will come a day when Reform are the opposition, and they'll have to do this. Maybe we're not quite there yet. Starmer's still dismissing Farage, saying that Clacton is pantomime politics and so on. But when you think about some of the people on that 7-way debate, I'd never seen some of them before. And then by the second one, I'd already forgotten about some of them already. That Welsh guy, can anyone remember his name?
No, at all.
And then there's the Green leader, which no one thought was even the leader of the Greens. Since Caroline Lucas, no one knew who that was. Basically, it was Rayner, Farage and Mordaunt, and then some other people.
You can't actually really have a 7-way debate, can you?
Right.
It's just, I mean, you've forgotten you give them all a topic. You've forgotten, by the time you get to the 6th person's view on the topic of debate, you've no idea what the first person said.
But had somebody come along who was very, very shiny and a really good speaker, I think that would have come. It's an opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Nigel Farage yesterday had his press conference, and do you know what? He did it all off the cuff, and it was interesting and engaging.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do the